Hey, so do you remember Baron Omatsuru, the antagonist of the sixth One Piece movie? 'Is Green Bull. What you see in the movie is that Baron Omatsuru is possessed by a demonic flower creature. This flower creature puts on a facade as a happy little sunflower on Baron Omatsuru's shoulder, right? But he's actually this giant root worm like thing, stuff of nightmares. Think about that and think about what we saw at the end of chapter 1052. Now, to be fair, many people for years, even before the new set of admirals came in, there has always been the want for a plant fruit. Notably because, well, plants are very important in the One Piece world. That's how people get these fantastical abilities through eating fruit, through the consumption of fruit. So it would only be appropriate that one of these fruits gave you the power to make vegetation, to make fruit. The reason why I think this is a Logia is because, well, when you think about other post apocalyptic manga or just media in general, not saying One Piece is one, but keeping that idea in mind. So let's say Last of Us or Horizon Zero Dawn or Doctor Stone, or even kind of the video game series Pikmin in a way, there is a surprising amount or an appropriate amount of overgrowth. As to say, nature has retaken the land and metaphorically devoured humankind's creations, right? Think about that, and then think about even like in the modern day where you could have a tree root that has busted a pipe or just plants growing on buildings and overtaking buildings. So, overgrowth and mass amounts of vegetation are in themselves a force of nature, as most Logia are classified as being, because, with Crocodile, he is a sandstorm, NL is a thunderstorm, Smoker is a dust storm, Caribou is a mudslide, etc., etc. But getting back to the olden times of, say, 2010, people thought Sakazuki was going to have this fruit. There are many fan arts I recall of him being covered in roses because he wore a corsage on his lapel. People just assumed that he'd be a plant man. So a plant logia then gives credence to a lot of other sort of situations. For example, if Green Bull is a plant logia, think of what that could imply for the state of Wano. He could be kind of benevolent and sort of repopulate the soil and the earth and give Wano its vegetation back in its barren areas. That could be a thing. Also, in just terms of, say, lore aspects, think about all the weird vegetation in One Piece. Think about huge island wide plant structures like the Boeing Archipelago, or even on a smaller scale, the concept of pop greens. Fascinating stuff. What if Green Bull can make pop greens? What if Green Bull can summon a mini Boeing Archipelago, which in a strange way is preluded by the flower in the sixth movie? That flower was very similar to what the Boeing Archipelago is. Like if the Boeing Archipelago was like a Pokemon, the flower of the sixth movie would be like the middle stage, an adolescent stage, before it turns into this big, massive maw in the sea. So, with Green Bull having a plant logia, that gives credence to a whole world of possibilities. Devil fruits have a designated host that they always return to, right? So the cycle goes, the person eats the fruit, the person gets the power, the person dies, the essence or devil of the devil fruit comes out of that person and goes into the nearest vessel, meaning the nearest fruit vessel. The nearest fruit vessel is presumably what that fruit is accustomed to inhabiting. That's why there's a cyclopedia on the shape and color of devil fruits, because the idea is that this power possesses this specific fruit in this specific way. Therefore, when you have, say, an apple with the salamander model axolotl, that apple will always turn blue and will always have swirls in that sort of pattern. So with Green Bull, if he can just manifest fruits out of thin air, if a devil fruit user dies near him, he could just easily capture the power. Like, say, if he managed to kill Luffy, for example, and the government really wanted the Gum Gum no be back, or the human fruit model Nika, right? If they really wanted that back, they could send him to potentially kill Luffy and then just summon the fruit that the human fruit model Nika inhabits. A plant fruit potentially means that Green Bull could have the most abilities of any Logia that we've seen, just based on what Pop Greens could do. He could look at a Pop Green, get hit by it, allow that effect to phase through him, or better yet, just absorb the plant. Then, too, here's another interesting thing. How would that power interact with other things? Like, say, could he potentially be the Luffy to Kizaru's NL?
ひどいね。
What I mean by that is, plants use photosynthesis, right? They literally eat sunlight in order to sustain themselves. So why would Green Bull be affected by any of Kizaru's lasers when he could just turn into leaves or overgrowth and just absorb the laser? And that goes for any laser. Now, with that being said, the thing about a plant ability is that would he even be affected by Kuzan? Because you have plants such as evergreen trees who can take cold conditions. Could he actually stand up to that? And on the subject about that, could he just make trees in general? Because when you say a plant fruit, that's very open-ended. Like I mentioned earlier, he could have all of Usopp's arsenal plus make a Boyne archipelago out of thin air. Imagine that, an island-wide threat out of thin air that the Straw Hats have to contend with. He says that he doesn't need to eat. So that implies that there are some abilities that are just sort of working in the background. They're passive. Kind of like how NL could restart his heart. But it really does open the gate for a lot of thought, because just thinking about all of what Usopp could do, imagine if someone just had that at their fingertips all the time. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.